I told you it was powerful, right? Let's hear Frank Turner. Come on. Yeah. Well, Frank, thanks for taking the time to visit KFOG and hang out in the Levi's Lounge with us.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I want to start off by thanking you for the new song.
Oh, it's the Sand in the Gears tune.
Sand in the Gears song. Yeah. Did anyone hear that here?
It's kind of I let my cuss words get away with me, so I'm not sure.
I was listening to it, and my kids were like, "Dad, isn't that a bad word?" I'm like, "Yep." Isn't that another one? I'm like, "Yep."
Yeah. It's my mother despairs of my inability to rein in my swearing when I sing. But I mean, I was angry, so it seemed like a thing to do. I've got a few more coming in that vein. It's interesting. I wrote some political songs when I was younger, and I've sort of steered away from that topic for a few years for a number of reasons, and just now seems like the time to kind of pick up that baton again.
It is interesting with
things to say.
Politics and music. There's always kind of a natural fit. So it's going to be an interesting. The song, if you haven't heard it, it's about the next 4 years and what Frank plans to do over the next 4 years.
Yeah.
I guess that would be an easy way to...
drinking is part of it.
Yes, drinking is part of it.
But not all of it. That's the sort of important point of the song.
Yeah.
Is that there are other things we can do collectively.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so it'll be interesting to see, how the musicians and artistic community reacts to the world events, which is I'm excited for. Just being a music fan of stuff. Sometimes in trying times, you get to, gems get created, magic happens. So I'm looking forward to it. But thank you for the song.
Well, thank you. My pleasure.
And then, I want to talk a little bit about Frank Turner. When you put the guitar down. Are you into gardening? You into, Like, what does Frank Turner do in his spare time? Are you?
I'm a history buff. And,
really?
And I read history books most of the time. And live in London. I'm an adopted Londoner, and I'm obsessed with London history. So when I have time off at home, I generally walk around looking at old stuff.
There's no geeky comic book collection.
No. And I read I read incessantly. I have my Kindle with me. I'm just plowing through stuff all the time. But like I say, London's a sort of we have 2,500 years of history there to get into, and if you know what to look for and where you're going, you can find some mind-blowing stuff every day.
You ever think about doing like some history videos, like YouTube videos?
Yeah,
this is Frank Turner.
Maybe. Yeah, it's an idea. It's fascinating. Like Henry Mayhew spent his entire adult life walking around London and covered roughly about half the streets. So you'll never see all of London, and that fascinates me.
Well, most people I know that go to London, they never see much more than the pub. Like that's it. Like they go there and like,
We
how's
have good
London?
pubs.
Oh, great
we
pub.
have good pubs. I'm going to defend our pubs.
Yeah. You mentioned the Kindle. Are you a big like smartphone app guy? And if so, what apps? If I took out your phone now, would I be surprised? Like you got Angry Birds on there?
Gaming, that kind of like my whole sort of life is governed by a feeling that life is too short and we just get on with things. And for personally, I find like playing games on phones and stuff like that. It's like, but I still haven't read all of Tolstoy or indeed learned Russian or like gone to South America or do you know what I mean? It's like.
Well, I know what you mean. I play Angry Birds and all that stuff. I know what you mean. Though. I
did once upon a time.
Yeah, I'm very aware of the time I'm wasting on my phone. But so you don't have any kind of apps. You don't have any kind of.
Not especially.
Nothing that you're embarrassed of.
Not really.
No.
I try. There's not much that I'm embarrassed about in life. I try not to care what other people think as much as possible.
That's a good way to live, man. That's a good rule to live by. There's no doubt about that. So no comic book collection. You're a history buff. No apps on your phone. One thing that I love talking about is people's first records. I did some research on Frank, and his first record, when I read what it was, it shocked me. And I don't know if this is true. This is what I read, was Iron Maiden Killers.
Yeah, I have the artwork tattooed on my leg. My parents listened to church music. God bless them. I'm not kidding when I say that. But they don't really believe in drum kits and electric guitars and stuff. So I made it to about 10 or 11 years old without really hearing any rock and roll, and then I saw an Iron Maiden poster on my friend's older brother's wall, and I was into like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, and I thought the poster was pretty solidly awesome. And he said, "Yeah, it's a band," and I said, "What?" So my dad bought me a cassette of Killers from the record store at the train station. Remember when that was a thing? And brought it home and gave it to me, and he still regards that as his central parenting error. Because,
it led you down this path.
I've not looked back. I can remember hearing that the first track on that record is called The Ides of March, and I remember that playing and just feeling like a light switch had flipped.
Yeah, as an Iron Maiden fan, though, it does, since that's the album that you're exposed to, Bruce Dickinson or Paul Di'Anno, who was the better frontman of Iron Maiden?
I think that Paul Di'Anno has a more interesting voice, but I think that Bruce Dickinson's a better frontman.
Interesting. Okay, I would argue with that, but we won't do that. We won't bore everyone else here. We won't bore everyone else here. That could be for a later time. Frank, obviously you have a punk rock background.
Sure.
That's no mystery. But how does that play out into your your kind of creative process when it's writing songs and just kind of that punk ethic into just everyday living, how you conduct yourself?
Well, so I grew up after Iron Maiden. I got into punk and hardcore very heavily, and I still listen to a fair bit of music like that, but not exclusively by any means. But like, it's a funny thing. Like I have, I was about to say I hope this doesn't sound superior, but it absolutely does. So I'm just gonna say it anyway. Like I have friends who grew up because I was the right age for Britpop, and I have friends who grew up with this sort of the Blur Oasis thing going on. And their legacy of their teenage years is two bands they quite like, and my legacy is like a sort of philosophical structure for like attacking the world. And it's like I really love the fact that listening to Minor Threat and The Clash and Black Flag and all that kind of stuff, it's more than just noisy guitar music, though it is that, and I love that, and I'll never stop loving that. But like, Minor Threat and Fugazi in particular, Fugazi kind of gave you a sort of a structure and an idea of things to do once the record ran out and once the show finished, and that was. And that's definitely still informs my life today. Again, not in a simplistic way, but the idea of music as a sort of community center for exchanging ideas is very important to me.
Awesome, man. That was an answer. Whew. Man, just awesome. Very impressive. Very impressive, Frank. You got a big year coming out. You're going on tour with Blink-182, which is exciting.
That's it. That is exciting. Yeah. That was a wonderful moment of like. Iconoclasm for me, just because I don't know how much anyone knows about Blink. Matt Skiba's recently joined the band, and Matt's an old buddy of mine from Alkaline Trio, his other band, and that tour got announced as the biggest thing happening in the UK this summer, and I just called him and I said, dude,
hook me up.
Yeah, I was like, sort me out, mate. And he said, okay. And about 2 weeks later, we had the tour, and it was just nice that there wasn't this huge sort of like pile of business people kind of. They were informed.
Yeah, this is happening.
What was going on.
Yeah.
But that's going to be fun. I've got my own festival in London, which is exciting as well. I'm taking over about 5 different music venues, including the Roundhouse, which is the sort of iconic punk venue in London, for 4 days. And we're going to have like music and bands and discussion groups and theatre and all this kind of thing. So that's going to be fun. And then I'm going to make another album.
Yes.
That's the idea.
That was my next question. He knows.
Yeah.
He's done these before. He's like, this is where this guy's
Yeah, yeah. Well, so the thing is, I wrote a whole album. I wrote a concept album about obscurantist women in history who've been ignored by the historical record unjustly, in my opinion. And I've written that, and it's great. It's kind of like a bluegrass concept album. And then then Donald Trump got elected, and I kind of went, maybe time to say something a little bit more focused, just for now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the bluegrass record will come out later.
Nice. So you have more Frank Turner to look forward to.
Yeah, I've kind of written too many songs.
That's a good problem to have. Sure. Something you might not be aware of. You're almost at 2,000 shows. I am, in fact. Tonight will be shown 2015. 2015.
Yes.
Now I think that the band that has the most live shows is the Ramones, like 2,366 or something. Is that a benchmark?
The problem with all this, because there was definitely a time when I was sort of like considered myself to be part of some kind of race.
Sure.
For this thing,
Yeah.
and then I read more about the history of the blues and gave up, because you look at people like Muddy Waters, John Lee Hooker, people like that. Those guys played 3 shows a day, 360 days a year for like 50 years, and didn't really brag about it either, because that's just what they did. And it's like, I've done. No, don't worry about it. Do you know what I mean? So, plus, the other thing is there was definitely in 2013 my life kind of pretty comprehensively fell apart. I broke my back. My personal life fell apart, and it was because I didn't have anything going on other than just playing. And there was a moment in time when it was like, maybe I should, do something else as well. So, I'm being tamed and domesticated by my other half at the moment, and it's a wonderful experience.
Well, with that said, let's make him play some more.
Okay, you guys want to hear some more songs?
Thanks, Frank. Frank Turner, everybody.
Thank you.